Hi, I'm Lavinia Butler, and welcome to Luvricand Co2. We have a very exciting and fun show for you today. Today's show is all about etiquette. Now, most people say etiquette, you only think it's only about how to set the table, but it's that and a whole lot more. And to talk to you about it today are two experts in the field. Helen Heedy Hawk, who's co-founder and president of the Etiquette School of Tennessee, Incorporated, and Tony Purvis, who is the founding partner of Premier Image Management Group. Welcome, ladies, to Luvricand Co2.
Thank you.
Thank you very
We're
much.
very honored to have you here today. And this is an exciting, very exciting topic for me because most people think etiquette, as I said, is only the place setting, which we're going to talk about that also. But it's much, much more. And as Helen can contest to, because you just recently did a lot of training for our teenagers, and you do it all over the city. Helen, talk to us about other areas of etiquette and why it's so important.
Well, first of all, it's extremely important for our young people, and it's best learned through modeling by adults. And it goes into the workforce as well, in business, how to get a job, how to interview for that job, how to present yourself, how to have the right social skills, because social skills are the great equalizer.
That's exactly right.
It transcends socioeconomic, race, religion, anything. If you know how to conduct yourself socially and in business, because we only have 7 seconds to make that first impression. And we all know that trying to get out of a bad first impression is very difficult, hard thing to do.
That's true.
But it is for our children and for their families and for businesses.
That is so true, because when you first meet people, and I see so many people, they shake hand or they really, what confuse them, where to put the name tags.
Sure.
You know, when I go to receptions and events and people will slap them on this side, sometimes I don't say anything, but I try to tell them that it should go on the right side, because I was taught by etiquette people like you ladies that you shake the hand, and that's where your eye always focus right on that right side when you're shaking that hand.
That's correct.
And that way they should always, name tag should always be on the right side. And that's the proper etiquette for that. Now, what are some of the things that you mentioned, teenagers and children, what kind of etiquette should they know?
Well, it's a little different somewhat in today's world because of the cell phones, emails. So we've really had to learn a new etiquette for the new days of communication. However, the etiquette of tried and true foundational etiquette of the yes, the thank you, the no ma'am, the no sir, the please, all of those foundational things that children should learn as they're growing. Because children's developmental stages at 7, they're pretty much set in how they're going to be or behave. So it's important it goes beyond that foundational now, because they're being introduced into this new age of information with these other iPods, these new gadgets. We'll call them gadgets. And there's a whole new set of etiquette principles to go with those, to build on. Our children are exposed to more today, TV,
Oh gosh, yeah.
computers, games.
Everything electronic.
Everything.
Yes, they are, and they get lots of their role modeling from those areas. So it's important for us adults to behave.
Very much so.
They're watching us. Our children are watching us and modeling.
Yes, they are. But Tony, tell us about Premier Image Management. What kind of images are you managing?
Well, it's all about the first impression, as she was saying earlier, and you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. So that's why we titled our group Image Management Group, because it's all about thinking about the image that you project. And not only thinking about it, but analyzing it and figuring out how you can modify it to present yourself in the best light, whether it's in your home or whether it's in the community or wherever you go, but in any social situation, it's best to be your best self.
Very well put. You know, I was thinking recently, or watching a program on television, all the media, and watching the different talk shows of where they analyzing this politician and analyzing any back point, counterpoint kind of thing. Said, oh, some of them getting really horrible and nasty.
Yes, interruption. I think it suffers most from interruption under those circumstances. It is so rude to interrupt. And often, as you just stated, in those exchanges, people get cut off. Their thought doesn't get translated. You know, the audience is cheated, in my opinion. And again, the modeling. It isn't necessary to be rude. You can disagree and be very cordial about it. I think our president pointed that out. Yes, it's okay to disagree, but you can be pleasant about that. It doesn't require rudeness. In fact, the rude behavior detracts from the point you're making. I find that to be true. Don't you?
Yes, I do, very much
But
so.
we're looking at the action and the anger or the facial expressions instead of the message.
Exactly.
So.
Well, you know, and I think so much about weddings too. I guess many people always think about etiquette, the proper etiquette at weddings. And the first thing I remember, well, when I was getting married and many other people, you think about, okay, who does the bride's family do this? And what are the things that the groom's family pay for? And this person, and who does what? And I remember studying, was it Amy Vanderbilt's book so much?
Oh, yes.
I think I read it cover to cover, the first volume a decade ago or so.
Yes.
And loved it so much. It was so much information in there, and wanted the second edition because it's etiquette is not just for weddings and special events of how to set up a receiving line and those kind of things. But as you mentioned, it's for school children, it's for businesses. How can a business person, what are some of the etiquettes that a person who owns a corporation or business, what do they need to know?
Well, they set the tone for the workplace. And obviously respect is the #1 character trait that you want to have among the employee and the employer. So they set the tone for the environment, dress code, but respect, communication, how that will be handled. And so that's a strong leadership for businesses and business owners. And it trickles right down to those employees, and it's all about customer service.
Oh, yes.
So obviously it helps them with their bottom line. It helps them be more profitable if they have employees that are very service-oriented. And manners is key. Respect is key.
That's true. What about in the family? I know that's that's another whole story I can imagine. Because I think about family get-togethers when we have. But that's just a fun time. But there has to be some etiquette that has to take place there too, even when you're having fun.
Well, certainly, Tony and I were talking about this the other day. It's foundational, and so if children are taught, if etiquette, respect, good manners is practiced and implemented, because we teach practice makes permanent. If those practices have been implemented throughout that household, those children, it just comes right up to being around the family, and your family deserves the respect that everyone else does. They are your best friends.
That's true.
And they should all be treated with respect. So it's foundational up, and then it will carry through their associations at school, and then on into their business, and help them with successful life outcomes. That's the greatest advantage of good manners and social skills, is to have successful life outcomes for everyone.
We were taught when I was a child that you do not interrupt when grown people are talking. That's what they used to tell us when the adults are talking. You do not interrupt, and we used to stand there and wait till we could have a little moment to get through. Yeah.
Certainly, that was something else that she and I discussed, and that is there are some old rules that need to go away. That is true, you do not interrupt, and you don't interrupt when grown-ups are talking in that sense. But grown-ups who are practicing their manners always asks for the input of a child. When we were growing up, the rule was children are to be seen and not heard. That must go away.
Exactly.
Now, respect and communication is what needs to be taught, because when you tell that to a child, it stifles their creativity. Children have so much to offer. They're so creative. They have much to share. So see, that respect goes both ways. To listen to our children, they have a lot to offer and a lot to teach us.
Good point.
Yes, but children are to be seen and not heard. That needs to go away with etiquette.
I agree.
But they should be taught how to communicate respectfully.
Exactly.
Everyone gets their needs met.
Very good.
Everyone's happy in the household.
Tony, how long have you been involved in the etiquette, in this whole imaging?
The business has been running for a year now, but etiquette is something that's been a part of my life ever since I was smaller. We were just discussing how it was taught in schools, and we're seeing an absence of that now. And I just remember being in grade school and looking forward to our manners banquet and dressing up and learning place settings and everything. So, and then on through college and everything. Just the courses and etiquette that's taught to you when you're at colleges and universities. That's something I remember also. So it's been a part of my life, a vital part of my life, ever since I was younger up until now.
Wow, that is very important. Since you mentioned the place settings, we have a beautiful place setting today, and it's so interesting. Recently at a workshop, I know that you performed, Helen. Where a young man asked you, said his girlfriend, was it?
In France, his girlfriend.
Yes, said in France, they do not clean their plate.
Exactly.
That you're not supposed to clean your plate. You're supposed to leave some food on your plate. And
because
your answer was?
Yes. Well, he stated that because in some cultures it is, well, I haven't had enough to eat. It might say that. I've cleaned my plate, so I could eat more. But no, in American culture, it's good to clean your plate. That's a compliment to the person who's prepared it for you. Again, we talked about, don't ask for seconds if you're if you're a guest in someone's home, because there may not be enough. However, a good host or hostess will offer it. But yes, it's a compliment to clean your plate. And we, again, with the place setting, I did bring that today because it's extremely important for people to know to use their best china, their glasses, and the things that we usually see in china cabinets, because it's a form of great congeniality and a respect and a love of giving of the food and of giving of your bounty and of a giving and sharing of your good things. So it's a good thing to do. Children need to know how special they are. You use it on their special birthdays. You use it, on holidays, but you use it when guests come into the home. That, again, is a teaching of respect and a respect for the fine china and the cost of it. Opportunities to teach your children about all of this are everywhere. For example, this is very precious. And so, helping with the dishes, we must be very careful because it costs money to purchase these things, and we must be financially responsible. We can't waste money by being careless and breaking the dishes. These are opportunities to teach children, teach them how to set a table, teach them how to be gracious host or hostess. Just learning opportunities.
Well, now, Helen, maybe you could tell us about this beautiful place setting you have here.
Well,
yes. In explaining, I know the forks are always on this side, always on to your left.
That is correct.
And the spoon and knives are always to your right.
That is correct. Just some informational rules that I became aware of when I was certified. Some extras that I did not know. We never place our silverware on our napkins. You notice the napkin does not have silverware on it. We never do.
Oh.
Now, a meal can start. It can either be placed just in the plate in front of you for you to pick it up and take it, or it can be put in a glass.
Oh, yes.
You often see it in a glass to take it out, but we never put silverware on our napkins. No.
Is there a reason for that?
Well, number one, if you think about the logistics, you must pick up that silverware off of a napkin to get it, so it's convenient as well. But there are so many uses of the napkin which we train and teach on. The napkin begins the meal, and again, when you're a guest in someone's home or you are at home, the head of the table and or the host or hostess, when they pick up their napkin, that's when you pick up their napkin. The napkin begins the meal. It also ends the meal and states that we're finished. And it's always placed back to the left. If you're leaving the table, if you have to excuse yourself during the meal, which you don't want to do unless it's necessary, you always want to place it to the right. Now there's a school of thought that you would put it in your chair. However, we don't know who's been sitting in those chairs, so it's always best, and it flags in a silent service situation, and that's where just by the placement of your napkin or your silverware, the waiter knows whether or not you're finished or if you're just resting. So just want to make that clear. You always, if you're leaving the table, place it to the right. Okay. If you're leaving, you place it to the left. That means I'm finished with the meal. It also catches crumbs. It wipes the mouth. We need it. And it also, if we have an accidental cough or sneeze, you know, we always do this. And if we're in a restaurant, we want to just go ahead and when we can get the waiter's attention, ask him to bring us a new napkin.
Now, I was going to ask, that was on the place setting.
Yes.
There's a certain way to put the knife and the fork to let the waiter know that you're completed your meal.
That's correct.
Yes.
If you're resting in between bites or if you have finished with them. And you will notice that you must always have a knife for every fork. You must always have a knife for every fork, because you wouldn't go from a salad using that fork and knife. You do not put soiled silverware down on the table. So that stays in your plate. Makes sense?
Yes,
that stays in your plate. So you need a matching one. In some restaurants, they will bring you, for example, a steak knife or a special knife or a special entree or main course that you've ordered.
Fork or something.
Well, sure, they will bring you the things that you need. And then you see we've started with a soup spoon on the outside, because when we're dining, we work from the outside in. We start out here and the soup goes before a salad.
Okay. That's correct.
Yes, and one other rule that I know I mentioned this the other day, salt and pepper. When anyone asks for salt or pepper, pass them both. First of all, the odds are they will ask for the other anyway. But it's correct to just pass them both.
Okay.
And we always pass to the right when we're sharing our food, serving, like pass the potatoes, please. And we always put it down to our right so that it doesn't spill. And then that person to our right can, get what they like, pass it on to the right.
Now we have many glasses. You want to explain the glasses?
Yes, a water glass always goes above the knife, the inside of the knife. Now I brought other glasses because this is set up for a 5-course dinner. And I know this is a fancy thing, but everyone will go to great meals and fancy special meals, the weddings, the celebrations, and just out to dinner. And so this is a red wine glass. The glasses come down here because a red wine goes with, you could eat it with several things today, but usually with the heavier meats, the lambs, the beef. And then the white wine glass, which is a little more narrow in front of it, would be with a chicken or a fish or something like that. Now I did put a stemmed champagne in the front. It does not go there, and let me explain that. Anytime you have an aperitif or an appetizer, you have a drink, you never take it to the table with you. Never. If you're drinking champagne or you're having a cocktail in a setting, you never take that glass to the table with you. I put that there to remind me to point that out.
Oh.
I also put it there to point out that with this long teaspoon, often with a 5-course meal or a 7-course meal, you'll be served a sorbet, and it will be in a glass similar to a fluted champagne, and you need a long teaspoon. It cleanses the palate between the salad and the main course. Dining out is so exciting and fun, isn't it? It is. It's a celebratory thing, and most social and business events are done around food. So dining is an important part.
I like the little soup bowl that's with the top on it, the lid. Yes. That one is very elegant.
That is a lug bowl, and it is for clear soups. For example, a consommé, a soup that's clear. And the reason for the little handles is that it is totally proper etiquette to, after you've eaten, if there is some food in there and you've eaten it, then you can just pick it up and sip it. So that's, this is when we can drink out of our bowls.
Oh, no,
and the bowl
nice.
below it is for a cream soup.
Okay.
And then the salad underneath it.
And of course the bread and butter.
Yes, bread and butter plates are extremely important, and the reason is that you want to reach over and take a tiny piece of bread over that plate so that the crumbs fall on that plate. And having an individual butter knife is extremely important for that because the others are far too large. But it's extremely important to just pull off the piece, a small piece, and butter it, one piece at a time, instead of cutting it open and putting it in. These are fun, exciting things. I'm one of 11 children. Again, we were talking about that, and I grew up very poor on the riverbanks of Arkansas. And this is so exciting to me, and I think so because as children, even as children, we all still have a little child inside of us. And children love to learn things, as you were mentioning. And you, when you were younger, you wanted to know all about the wedding and all about what the proper and all the things to do because it's a looking forward to a time where you'll be old enough or be in those situations where you can practice this and have fun with it. Children are just sponges of knowledge, and this is the time to teach them that they make it very exciting, you know, to have something different and special.
I love setting tables for occasions and events and entertainment.
Make sure people are coming. You know, it's such a, again, the food, feeding, you know, nurturing thing.
Now, one thing that I would say is missing, the place card.
Oh well, yes. This is set up for friends.
Right, for friends.
So yes.
Where would you put the place card? Is there a certain etiquette for the place card?
Yes. Now these are individual salt and peppers. Now usually you would just have sets of salt and peppers.
Right.
But it goes above the dessert fork and spoon.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting?
And that's where it should always move.
It should be. It should be right up the very top.
Because I've
Everything
seen
else
people
should be here.
do a lot of creative things and even putting you with the napkin.
Sure. No, it's best because it heads the table. You always want...
And when people walk by, they can see it.
Absolutely. Yes, they just look at the head of the place setting and see where they're supposed to be.
Well, thank you, you know, for that lesson and for everyone. And I know you do those lessons daily.
I enjoy what I do because I love, as Tony, helping people be the best they can be. Is there something so wonderful about that?
That is. We tell our children all the time to mind their manners, as we say.
Yes.
As I was told all the time. And it's so important that we do that at all times. No matter where we are, you need to know and be respectful of people.
That's it.
People are watching everything you do. We have a tendency sometimes to think we're invisible, but people are watching everything we do.
And you know, you were talking, Tony, about the business community too, about people, or maybe it was you, Helen. I'm sorry, in setting the tone.
Yes.
And so the matriarch of the family sets the tone of respect and how the family would operate.
Oh yes.
So there's the corporate executive who sets the tone, and in the business place, the mother or father or grandparent, the home, the elder of the home set the tone. So no matter where you are, church, you know, just wherever, there's the proper etiquette and manners of how people need to learn how to conduct themselves.
That's very true, and it just makes life so much easier. Children do not want to be in trouble. Who wants to be in trouble? And we have many children in trouble today. But manners, good social skills, etiquette, knowing what to do, how to handle yourself, how to treat other people. And manners, I would like to say this, manners is treating others the way you want to be treated, whether you like them or not. And I think that's extremely important for our young children to know because it's about you and how you conduct yourself. accountability and responsibility for your actions.
Now, how can people learn more about good manners and proper etiquette?
Oh, come visit Tony and I.
Okay.
We have a fun time.
Well,
don't
if
we,
somebody
Tony?
wants more
We sure
information,
do.
what's your email address?
It's helen.hawk@theetiquetteschooloftn.org.
Helen.hawk at theetiquetteschooloftn.org.
We are a nonprofit.
Very good.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Very. Oh my gosh, that just made it better. And Tony, how can someone get you?
I can be reached at tpurvis@premierimg.com.
Wow, that's in there. T Purvis, Purvis.
That's correct.
At
Premier. IM as in management.
Okay.
G.com.
Okay, wonderful. And you know, this is the age when everybody just take that email address and go right on the line and contact.
Sure.
Definitely.
That's wonderful. And then, if for those of us who still read, there, this book that you have here by Gotts.
Yes, it's Ignacio Gotts, titled Manners and Violence. When we decided to form this nonprofit, did some research, and he makes the great solid argument there of the connection between lack of manners and violence, and how it has just we've moved to a more violent society today. And his argument is that it should be taught in the schools. Obviously, we would prefer it be taught in the home, that foundational and all of that set in the home, and our parents and teachers working together.
Wow, that is wonderful. Well, thank you ladies so much. Helen and Tony, thank you so much for coming to talk to us about etiquette. We have enjoyed this, and the proper table setting and good manners. This is absolutely wonderful. And in the business world and schools and churches, you know, good manners is just everywhere in everyday life, wherever we go. You need to know. Even I'm just watching how perfect Tony is sitting. The good posture,
Sure.
and you know, poise and grace. All of those things
Exactly.
are part of it, and so it's just wonderful. Again, thank you, ladies, for appearing on Luvricand Company.